Motorists will have to pay more for fuel from midnight. The price of petrol will go up 54 cents a litre, while diesel will go up by 1 cent a litre. From midnight, the price of a litre of petrol in Gauteng will cost you 16 rand 67 cents. Petrol going up by 2 rand 66 since January this year, and paraffin will increase by 3 cents a litre. For more on this story, we speak to Visvin Reddy, the national convener of the People Against Petrol and Paraffin increases. A very good evening to you, Mr. Reddy, and thank you very much for joining us. I understand that you and your lobby group want to bring the election day on shutdown on Wednesday. What do you hope to achieve next Wednesday?
Let me explain. Firstly, tonight, the biggest shock ever is going to hit South Africans when we are faced with the second largest fuel increase in recorded history. This means that for every tank of petrol that you buy, if your tank is 70 litres, you're going to have another about 140 rands a month if you fill your tank 4 times in the month. Also, the cost of food, the cost of your taxi fares, they're all going to go up because of the fuel prices. As PAPI, we are calling on all South Africans to take part in our national protest against the fuel price increases by going to the polling stations next Wednesday and voting out this government. This government, we all know, has been dominated and led by the ANC for the past 25 years. It is the ANC government that is responsible for the high prices that we are paying in fuel.
So just now, for clarity, Mr. Reddy, now I need to get clarity on this, because when you say you're calling for a shutdown, you're not asking people to boycott the polls. You're saying that they need to effect the shutdown by voting out the current government. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. And what we are saying to South Africans is we've had enough of violent protests in this country. Protests like what we're seeing at the moment belongs to an abnormal society. People are resorting to all types of violent protests because they want to get the attention of government. It's a plea for help from the people. And this is because you have a government, an ANC government, which is not sympathetic to the needs of the people.
So
it's time that we taught the government a lesson.
You say you've asked them to you hold them directly responsible for this increase, and you've asked them to do something about it. Tell us when those talks took place and what was the response you received?
We've had several meetings with representatives from the Department of Energy as well as representatives from the presidency. And I can tell you that all they said was that we had good proposals, but we heard nothing from them. The reason for this is quite simple. The government is making money out of the taxes we pay on fuel. Do you know for every 100 rands that you pay for petrol, about 40 rands goes to government in taxes? And those taxes don't go towards maintaining and building roads. Instead, it goes into treasury coffers. And we all know how our treasury is managed in this country, with the cost of corruption being at levels that it is currently. We all know about this, we see it every day. Corruption is costing this country's economy 29 billion rands a year. And the government recovers 118 billion rand from fuel taxes. So our question is that the issues of international price of crude oil and your value of the rand dollar is part of the problem. The biggest problem is something that's in the hands of our government.
Okay, so let's talk about that proposed 8 rand drop in the price of fuel that you say they could help alleviate consumers with. How would they go about that?
Okay, our proposals will see us paying 8 rands a litre for petrol. Sasol is a South African-owned company. It does not use crude oil, it uses coal. We use coal to make fuel, and that fuel is sold to our neighboring countries at way less than what we are paying. And if you go to Namibia, you go to Swaziland, you go to Botswana, you go to these countries, you're paying far less than you're paying for in South Africa, yet that fuel comes from here. The government needs to regulate the price of Sasol fuels, put a ceiling of 8 rands, and we'll be able to pay 8 rands a litre for Sasol. Now, Sasol is one of the companies that's making massive profits in this country. At one time, it was reportedly making 100 million rands a day. The reason why it makes so much of profit is simply because the cost to manufacture Sasol fuel is far less than the cost to manufacture other fuels.
So that figure of 1 million rand a day, where does it come from?
100 million rand a day in profit. That's what Sasol makes.
Where does that figure come
the
from?
Profit margin. It comes from the profit margins that Sasol makes from the sale of its fuel. You see, the government regulates the price of fuel in this country. So you would pay the same for Sasol, yet the cost to manufacture Sasol fuels is far less than it would cost you to manufacture fuels that rely on crude oil and other import costs. So there's a difference.
Okay, so
but because the government...
Given the fact that we are going to the polls, unfortunately we have run out of time, which of the parties do you then feel would be the one that would be able to bring to fruition not only your proposals, but have the country at a position where we're paying 8 rand a litre for fuel, as you say?
Thank you very much. We're saying to South Africans, go to the polls and vote the ANC out of government. Do what Mandela said. He said, if this ANC government does to you what the previous government did, you do to this government what you did to the previous government. And that opportunity comes on the 8th of May this year. To which party to vote for, your choice is yours, but make sure you vote for a party that's big enough to make a serious impact in Parliament and to drive through our proposals through legislation.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Visvin Reddy is the national convener, People Against Petrol and Paraffin Increases. We're going to take a quick